What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dana White's Contender Series preview from Predictionstrike. We're on to week 7. It's going by super fast. Been some really good cards throughout this season of Contender Series. Let's dive into this week. Some good picks here for both Predictionstrike, other markets.
All right. So, of course, we have the beautiful man in the middle, and we move forward. All right. We got Tainara versus these are names that if I try to pronounce, I'll probably find a way to get canceled. So, Jackson, walk us through how these are going to go here.
We've got Alexia Tainara versus Rose Conceição. Both of these girls from Brazil, and the prices pretty much reflect most markets. I think we're getting a little bit better value for Rose here than you are in most markets at this point, but I think it's somewhere around there. But yeah, Rose is a multiple-time national wrestling champion in Brazil. Definitely has displayed that in some of her past fights. Recently, though, it seems that just because she's gained some confidence in her striking, she's kind of started to move away from that wrestling, which I'd say is a little bit of a concern just because that's where her background lies. She's not bad at striking, though. She can fight switch stance, which is kind of cool. Can start striking southpaw, then switch it up to orthodox. Good movement on the feet. Definitely a brawler. Doesn't have the best head movement when she's striking. Keeps her chin up in the air. So she's a bit hittable, but she does move her feet well. And Alexia has won by submission in most of her fights. She's not a wrestler at all, though. She's actually more of a striker and tends to win those sub fights. I think pretty much every time she was taken down by her opponent and then locked up the submission after she was put on her back. So not an offensive grappler, but is very skilled on the ground, and you can expect her to have that in her back pocket, obviously, just because of all the subs she has on her resume. Against Ryan, Amanda, Ryan found a lot of success against her on the feet, but she eventually won by sub anyways once that got to the ground. And then she also has another win on her resume. That was an 8-second armbar. Her opponent Campos didn't really look like.
Wait, 8 seconds into the fight?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Her opponent literally did she like her opponent just walked up to her completely standing straight up, just didn't look like an actual MMA fighter at all.
Word.
But yeah, I think Alexia
out of the ring.
Yeah, exactly. I think Alexia should be the better striker, better grappler. But when Rose is able to get those takedowns, she looks really good. And I think if she does implement her wrestling enough, she wins this fight. I personally am just not convinced that she's going to. She's moved away from her wrestling in her last few fights. I kind of think she does the same here. Alexia isn't the biggest girl. She might be okay just standing and brawling with her. And because of that, I think I'm going to lean the underdog in Alexia Tainara here. She's more versatile. She definitely throws big on the feet. Great grappler. So I think she can even get it done if she gets wrestled to the ground here against Rose.
Right on. All right.
I'm taking Conceição, but I respect the rest of the analysis. I think you totally could be right. You were pretty sharp last week, so.
I think Rose could easily. This is 100% a low confidence pick for me. So it's basically if Rose goes towards the wrestling game plan, I think she wins this fight.
Yeah, I see it.
He shows the vision. All right, on to the next one. All right, walk us through these two. This looks like somebody that was made out of Sims.
Cam Teague.
Yeah, Cam Teague.
Yeah. He's from Mobile, Alabama. Definitely looks the part too. He's stepping up on short notice. Kevin Vallejos was supposed to fight Luke Riley, and Cam Teague's coming in as the cheaper fighter. I think we're getting a pretty good value for Vallejos here. I think he's like almost a 3-1 favorite. And Kevin lost to Jean Silva a year ago when he was 21. He actually looked really good in that fight. He won the first round, but fatigue just caught up to him in the second and third. Jean just began to dominate, landed clean shots. But he was showing nice boxing. His counters were definitely landing. Jean we know how good Jean Silva was. Like, you can't blame him. He just completely picked it up in the second round. And then just pieced him up in the third. He has gone on to win some since then against Gonzalo Contreras. He demonstrated his grappling, which was something that wasn't very present in some of Vallejos' earlier fights, something he's definitely been focusing on and improving, which you always like to see. Also got a sub win against Perez. Overall, a very good boxer, though. Good in the pocket. Teague, like I said, he's big for this class. He's a lot bigger than Vallejos is. He's 6 foot to Vallejos 5'7". He has really good cardio, a strong chin, not very good striking defense, but he has a good chin, so it doesn't matter that much most of the time. In his last fight against former UFC fighter Austin Lingo, we saw that chin. Lingo was finding success on the feet, but gassed out. Cam just took over, ended up getting the finish against him. So yeah, he's tough, but he can get hit. Mostly a striker, uses his size well from range. He throws a lot more kicks than does Vallejos, especially high kicks. Vallejos really only throws kicks to the legs. And I think if Vallejos can close the distance here, land the counters that we've seen him knock people out, he should be able to get this one done. He has had a very strong strength of schedule for how young he is. Good cardio, which should hold up against the hard pace that Teague pushes. And it's going to be a really exciting one. I'm going Vallejos by KO here. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like Vallejos as well. I think with another year of experience, more ready for the moment, got over the hump and finished some fights, 2 fights by finish since then. So he's been super active over the last year. And I feel like with another year of experience, should be in a great spot. I also think this price is a good one. I'm not totally sure if he'll get a contract. I would probably lean no, unless this is a super electric fight. He might have to come back and do it again and get a positive record in the Contender Series in order to get signed. But definitely a prospect to keep your eye on. Cam Teague just looks like a junkyard dog that Morgan Wallen would throw a chair at. So I'm gonna fade him in this one and lean Vallejos.
Right on. All right. Let's see. On to the next one. We've got Kevin Christian versus Francesco Mazzeo. All right. Walk us through how this one is supposed to go. Looks like we've got somebody who is a little bit more rounded on the left and somebody who's striker dominant just off of looking at the graphs you have here.
Yeah, so this one's a weird one, and that Francesco Mazzeo sort of stat line definitely needs some context behind it, because he's really 2-0, I would say. Like, he's insanely inexperienced. He won 1 fight via injury. That was against Ariste, where Ariste just landed on his arm really bad and broke it. And then against Hewitt, it was called a DQ, I think, after a knee to the head. So 2 fights that really weren't like actual wins for him. I will say Hewitt was looking pretty good in that fight before he got hurt. Mazzeo was definitely piecing him up on the feet, but Hewitt was able to land a couple takedowns. I think he landed, and Ariste was able to land 2 takedowns on him in the 58 seconds that fight was going on. So very, very inexperienced here, I would say, as far as Dana White's Contender Series fighters goes. And then Kevin Christian has fought once since 2019. He's a really big guy for this weight class. And in his fight against Porto, which was his most recent one, he basically just runs straight at Porto in the first exchange of the fight. Just absolutely throwing punches from his hip, like, against this dude. This dude has no striking whatsoever. He's like a fully pure grappler. Even though you will see that he won that by a knee to the body. He literally strikes from his hips. But super good ground game. Mazzeo has only won 2 fights. He has bad takedown defense from what I've seen, and really only struggles against these grappling heavy fighters. So if Christian strikes with Mazzeo, I could see him getting knocked out. But if Christian gets it down to the ground, he has good grappling for this weight class. I think it's probably him by sub is the most likely outcome.
6'7" is absurd. I feel like this fight it will not go the distance, probably, if you had to pick one. Based on your description, this feels like it's either going to end by sub or by knockout. Either way it goes. I'm going to take Mazio. Guy looks electric.
Let's go.
All of his fights have not gotten out of the second round, the 2 injury ones, and then his 2 actual wins as well. So I feel like in a spot where he's an underdog going into a potential place where you can make a name for yourself and get signed, I think you just go in guns blazing and just take some shots.
I like it.
All right, we'll see how he does. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna side with Jackson here, and I think I'm gonna see. All right, if he's getting this done early, how do you think it gets done?
I think
Sub.
by sub. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was kind of leaning on towards.
Yeah, it's going to be
yeah.
sub if it's going to be on the Kevin Christian side of things.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I also just wanted to find an underdog to take here, and I think we'll probably both be aligned in the next 2 fights, Jackson.
Yeah.
I
think that's a smart move.
Yeah. And I was just like only 2 fights of actual experience does sound really interesting to me. But moving on to the next one. Oh, we got somebody pretending they're in a model shoot and somebody who's ready for a fight. Daniel Frenza versus Vadim Kucic. Yeah, he literally looks like he's preparing for an Abercrombie shoot here.
One of those guys that was just.
This is the Zoolander look.
To find a picture of. He is Loki giving blue steel. But yeah, the model here, Vadim, has not fought since 2022, and that win was a 1-punch knockout in the first round. Frenza accepted this fight on short notice, and Vadim has really good grappling, kind of doesn't shoot takedowns at all, though. Good striker. Against Ismail, he was getting his legs pieced up and got dropped in that one, shooting takedowns sloppily out of nowhere, but eventually put him out with a huge right hand. So kind of like a gap in fight IQ there, I would say. There's no reason for him to be shooting those takedowns. Against Abdebayev, who was attempting takedowns, won the fight on the feet by defending those takedowns. He knocked out Pena. Really good grappling. Saw that in the sub win against Fuentes. And Frenza is a guy that 100% has holes in his grappling. Both of his losses on his resume have been by sub. Gary Boletto, who's like a really small guy, was able to get a sub against him. Gave up his back against him. Boletto just jumped him, choked him out. Kalunzik found success in the wrestling against him. He gave his back up in that one too. So I think Vadim could go back to the. I mean, I really want him to go back to the grappling because I know that part of his game is what's going to be the most effective for him here. Like I said, he's not the most aggressive offensive wrestler. So I think that will be the one thing to look out for here. But I think it's more than likely that Frenza makes the same mistake we've seen him make in all of his losses in just the grappling department. So I'm going with Vadim here. By sub.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm staying on your side on this one, 100%.
Cool.
More skilled fighter.
More skill, more drills. On to the next one. Bailey Chauvin. Yeah, I can't do English today. Versus Danilo. Yeah, that's not even English.
That's not happening.
So walk me through this one.
Vivektin is how I've been saying it.
Like, all right, this looks like Louis Litt decided to go into like boxing.
It does. It does.
I'm sorry, man.
Well, you're gonna love
trash can.
You're gonna love who this guy is. It's kind of funny, dude. He is a European karate champion. This guy, Danilo Vivektin. He has. If you look at his record, you'll see he's won most of his fights in less than a minute. Against Popov, Danilo hammer punched him out in 30 seconds. He's kind of low IQ, though. Like against Gorbenko, he attempted a few takedowns and just let him stand up.
That's crazy.
That's what I love to hear.
He's kind of low IQ.
He's kind of stupid, but
I mean, he kind of just does whatever he wants in the cage. Like he shoots takedowns when he doesn't need to take people down. Like wins by random subs. Like he won by a key lock after he was like trying to take down this guy that was way worse at striking than him. But I'd say for the most part, he is just a powerful guy, like swings with intent with every shot, and just has a ton of power. Bailey has fought, I'd say, way higher level competition. He's also, I'd say, more of a striker. Smaller for heavyweight. I think he's going to be at like 225 pounds for this fight. Great shape, though. Super athletic for heavyweight. Has high level of competition. Against Bazooka, he defended a good amount of takedowns there, then got the finish.
Bazooka, sorry.
And then Velasco.
Velociraptor, sorry.
Dude. Velasco was on DWCS last year. He lost to Shamil Gaziev. And he's a really big guy. And Bailey, despite being the smaller heavyweight, was able to defend those takedowns, got the finish standing up. So he has really good takedown defense, especially for a guy who mostly likes to keep things standing. He's definitely more of a striker. I think he could win this fight, but I think these odds are so far gone. Maybe not on Predictionstrike, but elsewhere. It's like I could see Danilo catching an early KO.
Bailey's like -600.
Yeah. So I could see it. I mean, I'm probably not even going to touch Bailey with Predictionstrike prices, honestly.
No, 4 is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably staying away from all of it. I would maybe take a Bailey KO. I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but if it's somewhere around the 180-ish or something, you could throw that in.
Right. Is this a weight
to a
thing?
bigger deal?
Again,
but I think he flatlines him, to be honest. I think the weights are closer than that. That looks weird, but
yeah, I mean, I think maybe Danilo will be less, but I do know it was said that Bailey's going to be weighing in at like a significantly lower weight. But I do think with how athletic he is, it's a weird one. I do think with how athletic he is, he should be fine for the most part. But Danilo,
yeah, he looks pretty electric.
If he catches him, which is like how Danilo gets his wins.
All right. So
Danilo.
I was going to say, so from my casual perspective, I think how I would play this is I would go with Danilo by knockout because he's got that extra weight, and we saw that happen last weekend, right?
Yeah.
That's like plus 800-ish.
Yeah. And then I would go Bailey for submission because if he's going to win this, I don't think it's going to be by points. I feel like if it is, he's going to be just ragdolling him on the ground would be my guess. I just can't see a world where you're wanting to consistently stand and bang with somebody who's got 30 plus pounds.
Yeah, he's gonna want to wrestle for sure. Vivekkin also has non-existent ground game, so
okay, I like that.
Even though Bailey does like striking, I do think you're right that he'll probably want to his path to victory involves some wrestling. I imagine.
True. All right. With that said, we'll move on to the next one here.
I think
that was it.
Yeah.
Well, damn. All right. Well, thank you, Lewis Lit. That was the last one we had. We will hopefully see you get a knockout or you get submitted. One of the two. But yeah, that's all we have on this one for DWCS. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully I wasn't too much of a distraction. And Grant and Jax were able to walk you through these expertly. But yeah, fun card. Be exciting to see. Hopefully this goes better than NFL did. So yeah, appreciate you all. Talk to you all later. And of course, have a great day, y'all.
Thank y'all for watching.
Peace.